Our topic today, ya ikhwan, of one of the things that people live and die for it. Everyone, since Adam alayhi salam, we all of us strive to be perfect in this dunya. Everyone try to make the kamal to win the sa'ada. Everyone. We all of us searching for perfection in this life. Because we believe to perfect your life, you will earn happiness. We learn it from the young age. You know, you have to be the perfect kid. You have to have the perfect score. You have to have the perfect degree. You have to have the perfect body. You have to have the perfect wife. You have to have. All of us striving for perfection to earn happiness. سعادة الدنيا ماديا شخصيا مظهريا داخليا بدنيا. All of us. This is what we learn and what we inherit. And this is our actually nature of a human being. For fight, and we want to be the best. But طبيعة الإنسان, but the nature of human being, النقص البشري, with shortcoming. No one is perfect. No one is perfect. الكمال وحده لله. The perfection is only for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But in the same time, same token, al-insan, the human being, is capable to do the impossible. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala choose us and make us, the best of His creation. And make us in charge of this dunya. Then for us to reach the happiness and the perfection of the dunya, we have to understand and learn the meaning of life and perfection and happiness. Can the person be perfect? That's a question. And that's the argument. And we say in al-kamalu lillah, we say the perfection for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the kamal al-kulli. This is the kamal of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The perfection is only for Allah. But can the human being perfect the happiness and perfect the completion of this dunya? Question that a lot of people argue about it. Why? Because we have a hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. جئت بكم اليوم لحديث رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. I brought for you today a hadith of Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم. And Abi Musa رضي الله عنه narrated that Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم said, كمل من الرجال كثير. The perfection for men in this earth was a lot. Then you can reach perfection, inshallah. The perfection of the dunya, the perfection of al-nudug al-aqli, al-dini, the secure of this dunya, you can reach that. Who said that? Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He said in this hadith, كَمِلَ مِنَ الرِّجَالِ كَثِيرٌ. The perfection for men in this earth, a lot, inshallah. Not by age, not by age, but by mind. Because the age is just a number. The age is just a number. You don't think your wisdom comes with your age? No. Age is just a number, but the wisdom comes from the aql, from the brain, from the knowledge, from joining the scholars and reaching the knowledge and shutting your mouth. Then Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Kamila means perfection of this dunya, من الرجال, from a man's side, كثير. وكمل من النساء, and the nisa, he counted. آسيا, امرأة فرعون. آسيا, the wife of Fir'aun, number one. آسيا, امرأة فرعون. She was married to the طاغية, the worst person in this earth, who said, أنا ربكم الأعلى. He said, I am your Lord. And she was his wife. And she feared Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the presence of the Fir'aun. And when we are in describing someone who actually طغى means he went above and beyond the human being, we call him Fir'aun هذا الزمان. We call him Fir'aun this time. Because this is the biggest example. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose Fir'aun to make him an example for all mankind until the day of judgment. That's the topic of the kufr. Imra'at Fir'aun, the wife of Fir'aun, Asya. Number two, the perfection of women. Maryam. Whoever claiming that the Muslim, don't believe in Jesus and don't believe, Maryam. Rasulullah ﷺ said the perfection comes Maryam. And then this hadith that I'm bringing you, this is hadith, and we have two narration. I'm giving you the exact narration. The number one, when Rasulullah ﷺ said the perfection from the man was a lot, and from women he said Asiya, the wife of Fir'aun, and Maryam bint Umran, and then he said two, and then he said وعائشة, and he said وعائشة لها فضل على النساء. Aisha, he didn't say perfection for Aisha, but he said Aisha have fadl. Fadl means that she give us so much a hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu. Then he said وفضل عائشة على النساء كفضل الثرية على سائر الطعام. كفضل الثرية على سائر الطعام. As he described Aisha by the benefit for Aisha, for the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, as the perfection of the food when you have food with no meat. But then the Arab, because in the time we love the meat, then he said as as-suraya is the best ta'am, which is the meat with bread, above comparing to the whole entire food after that. Then he said fadl Aisha upon the whole woman as the best food comparing to other food, the best meat comparing to everything else. Another narration, because you will hear another narration, but the ulama said it's a weak hadith. And this is the amana of this place. This is another narration. كَمِلَ مِنَ الرِّجَالِ كَثِيرٌ. He said also in this narration, but it's weak narration, he said the perfection for men was a lot, and the perfection for women was 4. 4, but he didn't change. He said Asya, Imra'at Fir'aun, and Maryam, bint Harun, the mother of Isa, and then he said Khadija, and then he said Fatima. Khadija and Fatima. And this is another narration. Now, we all of us searching for perfection. Why? Because we believe that when we perfect, when we get the best degree, and when we get the best wife, and when we get the best job, we will earn the happiness in this earth. The seeking of happiness comes from success in this dunya. And I told you, for Rasulullah ﷺ said, you can do it. You can do it. Now, نتعلم. But before we tell you the hadith of happiness and the challenge of the dunya, we have to learn one thing in this khutbah. We have to learn one thing. ما كان لك سيأتيك. Whatever it's written for you, you will get it. رغم ضعفك. Even if you are so weak, whatever Allah wrote for you in the Lawh al-Mahfuz, in His record, you will get it in this dunya, no matter how weak you are. And no matter how strong you are, and striving for something is not written for you in the Lawh al-Mahfuz, you will not get it even with your power and your strength in this dunya. Then you have to, before we get to search for happiness, we have to learn one lesson. More than one lesson. The first lesson is, مَا كُتِبَ لَكَ, what's written for you, you will get it even if you are the weakest person in this community. And we see it in this dunya. And even if you have the strength and the connection and the power and the money and everything, and it's not written for you, wallahi, you will not get it. That's number one. Very clear. Number two, we have to recognize our shortcoming in this dunya. Al-kamalu lillah. We have to remember always in our mind that the perfection is only for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even when Rasulullah said, Kamila min al-rijal, the completion of the man in this earth, he talked about the completion of certain things, which is the brain and the iman and the security of this dunya. You understand? But the perfection only for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We're not comparing the human being to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Al-kamalu lillahi wahda. Now, tawaqqaf. You have to stop. And I call the word nanbish. Nanbish means like it's not like searching, because some people call it searching, but I am call it nanbish. Nanbish means like you're digging like the animal. Nanbish fi asrar al-khalq. We're searching in the security, in the life of people around us to see their weakness, because the temptation of we are in the competition with them in this earth. You know, like whenever, like you and your brother or your uncle or your cousin or your nephew or your niece or whatever it is, and you are always in your mind, you have to be perfect than him. Because you want to have your kids better, you want to have your wife is better, you want to have your house is better, you want to have the best job better than this and this. Then what you do is you're searching of his weakness. Nabsh. You're seeking what happened to his son, what happened to his daughter, what happened to his wife, what happened to his job, what happened to... You are tanbish, you're searching and searching about weakness of others. And that will never make you reach this happiness in this earth. And will never make you a complete person in this earth. Because it's taking a lot of energy, it's toxic mind. And the only way to reach happiness is not to be a toxic mind, to be a positive person, to be a believer. You don't focus in others, you focus in yourself to reach that destiny that you want, which is completing of happiness and completing of a perfection of this dunya, to make you deserve that happiness, the infinity of happiness, which is Jannah. Now, فهل لنا أن نعلم أين السعادة? Where is happiness? You have to understand one thing. If I have 4 apples, do you like apple? If I have 4 apples and I give you 2 and I kept 2, the number is short, right? كل شيء ينقص إذا قسمته على 2. Everything can be shortened when you divide it per 2, except one thing: happiness. If you divide the happiness among of the others, it will increase. That's the only thing in this dunya can be increased. Then don't be greedy in spreading happiness. And this is a message to everyone who actually invite me on death and sickness and losing a job or losing a son or losing a job, but they never invite me in happiness. I need to be invited in happiness as I'm inviting in sadness. I call myself 911. I'm becoming a lawyer and a doctor and pharmaceutical and a political, right? For your happiness. But then when the happiness comes, you don't share it. You share the sadness. We need to share the happiness for one reason: to spread the happiness and to increase the happiness. Where is the happiness comes from? Sallu al Habib. I'll give you hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. رواه ابن حبان والحاكم والبيهقي. 3, evidence. عن سعد ابن وقاص عن سعد ابن أبي وقاص رضي الله عنه قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم صلوا على الحبيب 4 من السعادة 4 of happiness, and that's our topic today. 4 to complete the happiness, and I'm sure a lot of people came for that. I'm sure a lot of people came for that, and we're going to learn that today, inshallah. I hope that we're not leaving with sadness, we're leaving with happiness, inshallah. Inshallah, say Ameen. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said 4 to get your happiness in this dunya. Ya Allah. Tell us, Ya Rasulullah. He said, Al-mar'a as-salihah, the righteous wife. Ya Allah. Now I'm going to find all the masjid now vacant. La ilaha illallah. Inshallah not. Al-mar'a as-salihah, number 1 of happiness. Ya Allah. Al-mar'a as-salihah is the secret of happiness. Our sister now, she's so happy now. Right? I will give you the 4 and then we discuss, and hopefully we have the time to discuss all of them. I don't think so. 4. First, al-mar'a as-salihah. This is your secret of happiness. Second, Allahi uqsim billah. I swear by Allah. Min member Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. 1400 years ago. He gave us the secret of happiness, that people claiming that Islam is only for the time of the Arab in the desert, or Islam doesn't fit our need of today, and Islam is not, matching our society right now. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam tell us the solution, that what? If you hear this hadith, you will say, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. Ya Allah, 1400 years ago, in the desert, without the Lexus and without the house, $1 million house, 5,000 square foot, and all this $1 million jobs and the IT and all this stuff, and he's sitting down in the desert in front of a sheep and lamb, and then he's saying the secret of happiness, and he's saying the secret of happiness. When you study it right now, you know that this is the truth. How did he know that? How did he know that? وَمَا يَنْتِقُ عَنِ الْهَوَى. He doesn't speak from his own mind. وَإِنَّمَا هُوَ وحي يوحى, a revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sallu al Habib. Number 1, al-mar'a as-salihah. This is your key of happiness, ya akhi. That's why when people call me and say, brother, I have a wedding for my son, I want you to conduct it. MashaAllah, Allahu Akbar, MashaAllah, congratulations. When is that? He said, today, inshallah. I said, excuse me? He said, today, inshallah. You have to make yourself, I said to him, I'm invited as a guest or I am performing the nikah? He said, no, you are performing the nikah. MashaAllah. Did you actually didn't call anybody except the imam in the same day? Why? No, I actually planned this 6 months ago, and we actually went to Pakistan or Afghanistan or Bangladesh, get the clothes for like $1,000, and then we'd get the jewelry and we'd contact the hotel and all the stuff. But the imam, the Islam is the last thing. The imam is the last thing. Why? Because Islam is not part of our marriage. Right? No. How to win your happiness in this dunya? Az-zawja as-salihah, the righteous wife. Then you have to actually have counseling, and you have to have Islamic study, and you have to have, pre-counseling Islamically. People said to me, what does that mean, pre-counseling marriage? What are you talking about? We never heard about this in the whole life. The imam comes, we just sign the paper and say, Barakallahu lakuma, and he eat the biryani and go. Why you are so important? I'm not the important one. The Islam is the important one, not me. I am not claiming that I'm important. I'm claiming that without Islam in the marriage, she is not be a righteous woman, and you will not be a righteous man, and you will never reach happiness in this earth. Never. Number 1, al-mar'a as-salihah. Second one, Sallu al Habib, is impossible. How did he say that? And he was living in a tent in the desert in the Arab. He said, al-maskan al-wasi'. Al-maskan al-wasi', a big house. Ya Allah, Ya Rasulullah, Ya Subhanallah. You are living in a tent. And then you say, one of the happiness of man and living in this dunya and reaching happiness is to have a big house. The majority of people divorcing, because they living like 10 people, 10 kids, 10 brothers, 10 sisters, all of them married in the same house. Culture, brother. We're saving a lot of money. And this is united. 10 years after that, all of them divorce. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Or is not divorced. They living miserable. So brother, this is Islam. This is not Islam, brother. This is culture. I'm going to tell you that in the masjid here, in the house of Allah. This is a culture, not Islamically. You know, it's a choice. I'm not saying it's a choice. But the woman need her own house. That's another topic. But Rasulullah said, Al-maskan al-wasa, a big house. If you have 10 people married, brothers and sisters, and married in the same house, make it a big house. Then they actually have the space, because the space gives comfort for the relationship of everyone. Third, al-gar al-salih, the good neighbor. Ya Rasulullah, good neighbor, what? You are in the desert. Right now, wallahi, uqsimu billahi al-azim, every divorce comes, they tell me, my neighbor said though, my neighbor, recommend a lawyer, my neighbor, tell me to do this with my husband, my neighbor told me to go and make a, police arrest, or like, whatever. Rasulullah said 1400 years ago, wife, righteous wife, a big house, neighbor, ya ikhwan. We don't look about all this stuff. I find a good location, and I find a good house, and a very cheap house. Who's your neighbor? It doesn't matter, brother. He's not going to live with me. He's not going to feed with me. He's not going to affect my kids. He's not going to give my kids drugs. He's not going to be after, his wife going to be after my wife to make me divorce. He's not going to do that, because in the end of the night, we sleep in our house, and he sleep in your house. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, your neighbor, al-jar, awsikum bil-jar. He said, your neighbor, until the companion thought that they have to put the neighbor in the inheriting. I'll tell you something else. This is very sad though. This is very sad. That Rasulullah ﷺ said, Laysa minna. He's not among of the believers. Laysa minna. We are not among of the believers, or he is not believing in what Rasulullah ﷺ said, and he brought whoever sleep the night. Whoever sleep in the night, full stomach. Full stomach, and he knows that his neighbor is suffering and he's hungry. But brothers, he didn't say a Muslim neighbor. He said, Laysa minna, he's not among of the believers, and he's not believing in what I preach. That's your Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said he's not a believer who I brought to this dunya, whoever slept in the night, full stomach, and his neighbor is hungry. Ikhwanuna fi Gaza, they are suffering. And the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is comfort. And spending the millions of dollars in the comfort of the dunya, they will never reach the happiness in this earth, and their life will be miserable because they never felt their hungers of his brothers and sisters. Rasulullah ﷺ said your neighbor, and he didn't say Muslim or non-Muslim. But lessa minna, he's not among us. The last one is, Rasulullah ﷺ, he, as if he living with us right now. Al-markab al-hani. Al-markab al-hani mean that your ride that you drive. Fourth thing, ya ikhwani, it's blow my mind. Al-Islam, in Sharia, when we study, he said, the miracle of Islam, Al-Quran, the miracle of the Quran, إِنَّهُ كِتَابُ كُلُّ زَمَانٍ وَمَكَانٍ. The Quran is the solution of every place and every time. When Rasulullah ﷺ tell you, you're searching for happiness, confirm with me four things. Imra'a salihah, what else? Imra'a salihah, مسكن واسع, house, a big house. الجار الصالح, a good righteous neighbor. And the fourth thing is a secure ride. Secure ride. How many of us, he doesn't have a job because he's not is secure with a car that can be broken or can be damaged in the 95. I cannot get a job as Uber until the car is in year 10 years old or something like that. I cannot do this, I cannot. How did Rasulullah knows that your comfort of this dunya is to have a good ride in 2024? Allahu Akbar. People come to me and say, brother, I want to make a committee because I want to get a car, because if I don't have this Uber or something like that, you want me to have a good car? Because this is going to bring happiness to my life. I said, Sadaqa Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Sadaqa Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Sallu al-Habib. 1 minute. The opposite of happiness, definitely, if you're smart, and you are smart, the opposite is not a righteous wife. That she always complains. She always puts you down. She always tells you, you're not doing enough for the family. You didn't bring enough. She always takes you down and don't raise you iman and doesn't support you. Because if she supports you, as Rasulullah said, Al-mar'a as-salihah, az-zawja as-salihah, she will back you up of all your challenge. When you lose a job, when you have difficulty paying the bills, she will tell you, it doesn't matter. We can eat a bread without, hummus, without, extra, and then we can pay the bills. She can strengthen you to complete the perfection of this dunya, and you get the happiness. But if the opposite, she will be against you as the dunya is against you. She will be difficult as your job is difficult, and she will be difficult as your challenge is difficult. Then Rasulullah said, choose the righteous wife. And also, this is for the sister, also choose the righteous husband. This goes 2 ways. Let's make sure. This goes 2 ways. Also, the happiness of the sister is to get a righteous husband too, because you're not Abu Bakr, you're Abu Lahab. I'm not sorry, I'm not you. But I don't know you. You Abu Lahab. I know him very well. Just because you know what, you cannot be asking that you want to marry Khadija and Fatima, and you are Abu Lahab. If you want the perfection, you have to be perfect too. If you want to get the happiness and you want a woman to actually support you, you have to give her the security. You have to give her the iman. You have to give her the respect, ya akhi. I don't have that much time, inshallah. Then, very quick, the opposite of happiness, not righteous wife, and also a very tight house, right? And then not a secure car, right? What else? The fourth one. Somebody remind me. The neighbor. Allahu Akbar. The neighbor. Then what is it? 4 things that you have to work hard. Before you get married, get the marriage counseling. Pre-marriage counseling. I don't charge that much. Second, you always, before you buy a property, you have to know who's your neighbor. That's why the Muslim rising up the real estate, because we all of us around what? The masajid. I always say, focus in the masjid. If you are real estate and if you are a developer, I'm going to tell you something. I will increase all your wealth, because if we build the center of Islam, everyone from the United States of America will come to listen and to learn around the masajid, because we are so smart. Because we know that we're going to get the happiness through the house of Allah. Then the neighbor and a righteous wife, a big house, and then a secure car, that not fancy car. It will take you from this point to this point secure, to get you the good job and to make you comfortable, and you're not stressed and you're not worried that it will be broke. Like some people tell me, brother, I'm driving a 95, I'm just afraid the tire will go this way, I'm afraid that the engine is shaking, I'm afraid. This is fear. The fear take the happiness.